now that we have our camera and our lights generally set up the way we want them to be, it's now time to start applying materials and textures to start to make this scene feel a lot more realistic. First of all, we don't want to move this camera anymore. We're happy in that position, so we want to see what we're doing in this scene, but without damaging this scene and looking around. To do that, Blender's great because we can change our interface and move panels around. So if I go up to the corner here, and it works in any corner, you'll see a small crosshair appears. If I click and hold, we can pull out another frame. And we can set any of these to do what we're wanting. But we're wanting this one to stay as it is, and we're going to work in this one just here. Now I need to come out of the camera mode in this one, and you can see we can look around while this frame over here stays the way it was. And we can look around this, we can change things, we can tweak things just to be the way they want them. So we're going to start by, first of all, in this video, looking at applying a material not to the object itself, but to the ground, because it's going to be a little bit easier for us to understand, and there's a few other processes for applying materials to the actual 3D models here. But a flat plane, we want to make this look like some worn out wood. So I've got this bottom plane selected, and I'm going to go to the sort of beach ball icon, whatever it's meant to look like. I'm going to select that, and I'm going to say there's a new material. First of all, I'm going to give this material a name, and I'm going to call it old wood. Old wood. And I want to use an image to go onto this plane just here. So where it says base color, there's a small target. I click on this and select an image texture. And you need to download an image texture or have an image that you want to be a texture to be applied. And for this wee task here, you can get the image textures from DesignClass.co.uk, and you can use them to follow this tutorial. If I click image texture, you'll see that this goes a horrible purple color, and that is the way Blender tells us that something is missing. It's missing because we've not opened it up yet. So we say open on this panel, and we're going to open up our materials. So I click on materials for VBlock here, where I've got my materials prepared. And I'm looking for worn wood color. You'll notice there's other materials, worn wood bump and worn wood specular. We don't need them right now. We just want the worn wood color map. And I say open image, and there suddenly it's applied it to our scene over here. And automatically the scene is starting to feel a lot better. Here's the problem though. And if I just stick to this view over here and I turn this to a rendered mode, we can see that unfortunately, while this might not look too bad, it feels like a sticker has been applied to a flat plane here. It feels very flat and very lifeless. Well, that's because it is. It's just a flat JPEG image that's been applied to a plane. And while on first sight it may feel quite nice to have that on and sort of semi-realistic, we can make this a lot better. We really want to show that this is some worn wood. So to do that, we're going to apply something called a bump map. And to change this, we need to have our object selected, and we're going to change this material so that it actually has that bump. And to do that, I'm going to split my screen yet again, so I can view my wood around here. I can keep my scene over here just fine. But up on this view, I'm going to change the mode over to shader editor. And I'm taken to this special graph here, which allows us to start modeling wood and changing things to be the way we want it to be. So first of all, we want to add another material in place. So I'm going to go to add, texture and image texture, and I'm going to open up one which is called bump map. Now a bump map is very simple. A bump map will simply take wherever it's white, it will make the graphic stick up, and wherever it's black, it will appear to go down. It will essentially displace things, well I shouldn't say displace, it will make the surface appear rough. by using white and black data to change things. And we'll be looking at that later on in a future video. How do we make our own bump maps? So I can say open just here, and I have got this image. I then want to add in another command. So I'm going to go to add, and I'm going to search the word bump, and we're given a bump control just here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the color of this image goes to the height of the bump, and then from the bump I'm going to take it to the roughness of the texture, and instantly you can see this now looks a lot rougher. Let's just take that off for a second. So a flat, almost sticker like, and then I can go up here, attach it to roughness, and instantly we can see it appears to have a little bit more surface to it. There's a few things to do to make this feel a little bit better. First of all, we want to change this from color just to non-color data. That will make the computer later on process a lot faster. And then next, you can actually change just how deep or how rough things start to appear just by adjusting these sliders. And you can go to all sorts of crazy high levels. I'm going to set that to about 20 just there. But you can see now that this here now has a feeling of being a little bit rougher on the surface, and that's ways of starting to make the texture feel like it is a lot more realistic. Now, we're not done yet, because we want to make it so that the light that we see only bounces, only reflects in particular areas just here, and we call this a specular map. This is basically where the light is going to hit and where it's going to touch, and that can also impact how dramatic the scene appears. So I'm going to go to add an image texture again, and if I go to open, back in, you'll see that I've got a specular map already made, and you can download these from designclass.co.uk, and all I do is take that color data and put it straight into specular. You can then drop that down to non-color data. It will affect how quickly it renders, and it will now, the light will only bounce over in particular areas just here, so we get far more control over our lighting effects. To get rid of these panels, I can just go to the small crosshair again and just hold my mouse, and if I go up the way, this bottom panel will go over the top. If I go down the way, it will join in that way. I'm just going to go over the top just here. So I'm pretty happy with how that's starting to look over here. I've got a nice little bit of reflection getting caught, but now all we're going to need to do is soon put some materials onto our block, and then we're sorted.